Hello, busy people out there. This is the Efficiency and Organization YouTube channel. And this is where I share a lot of ideas on everything that has to do with being organized, productive, and having good time management and having plans and systems. So this particular video, I decided to talk about a resume, how you can have a nice organized resume to get more calls for interviews for assistant principal, vice principal, and principal positions, especially if you have not done that work before. For you to, if you're new, if you're trying to apply, you want to get more interviews, then you want to stick around and watch this video. My name is Rosanna Hernandez, and this is my 6th year in administration and public school administration. Prior to that, I was a classroom teacher at the high school level. Prior to that, I was an hourly classified employee. I was a bookkeeper, and before that, I was a secretary. I wanted to show you some of the things I did to increase my chances of getting calls for interviews. So I'm going to talk specifically about how I organized my resume. Number one, I kept my resume very simple. So I used like just a basic 12-point font, nothing too fancy. I put my educational philosophy up at the top, and then I said why I'm trying to go into administration. And then after that, I went into my experience and my education. I put a section in there for awards I had won, and I put a section there for any conferences and places I have spoken before. Now, when I started applying initially for assistant principal jobs, I started to keep track. So I opened up an Excel document and I said, okay, I am going to keep track how many places I apply, how many of them turn out to be interviews, and of course from there, how many of them end up being second interviews or offers for positions. It was important. After about a month or two, I started to see what was happening. Initially, I wasn't getting very many calls. I was like, what's going on? It was like around March that I started applying. And I was like, wait, if the school year ends like in May, June, this is the time to apply. Why am I not getting enough interviews? That's when I really started to make some of these tweaks to my resume. Look at the job description and make sure that the keywords that they use are things that you use in yours. Even if you don't have experience, but you've observed things before, you've shadowed before, just make sure you put there. You could say support with discipline policies, right? So you yourself have not done discipline because you've been a classroom teacher, but you could say support with because you are supporting the school with its discipline. If you know anything as a teacher that has to do with social emotional learning, that's a big topic right now. You can say implementing social emotional learning within my department. So don't just say in your classroom because they don't care. You're trying to show that you can do things that will impact the masses when you're in administration. PBIS is a big one. Make sure you say something about PBIS, implementing school-wide positive behavior intervention supports. See? So you're not saying I did PBIS in my classroom. You're saying I helped implement school-wide PBIS strategies. So when I started seeing that my percentage was too low, like out of 10 applications, I would get like 1 interview, if that, I was like, okay, I need to make some tweaks. I need to make some changes. And so that's when I kept like looking for other samples and stuff and just coming up with ideas of my own. And so I got to increase my percentage over a course of about 3 months to 33%. So out of every 3 applications I was submitting, I was getting 1 to respond back to me, whether it was by email or a phone call to tell me I had an interview. That's a really good percentage, you guys. If you do any research at all on like just in general, how many people when they submit applications, like how many they get calls back for, it's usually about 10-20%. So 33%, 1 out of 3 is not bad. If you want to see my resume as well as key important thing, the letter of introduction, please let me know in the comment box. Say, can I please get yours? I will email you mine. I don't care. It's a Word doc. You can use it. You could keep parts of it that apply to you, and you could change things that are for you. you can do that. That's fine. But you do have to leave a comment for me in the YouTube channel in this video in the comment box. That way, just say, can I please get yours? And then I can work with you. I can email it to you. I can send you my letter of introduction and my resume that you could use as a sample. But a couple other things that I want to make sure I let you know. If you look at mine and you go, oh my gosh, I haven't done any of those things that she says she's done, guess what? You need to start doing them. You need to start to present in a conference or two, okay? It's a really good thing to do. It will show leadership. It'll show that you are out there, putting yourself out there, speaking to the masses and educating. Number one. Number two, as a teacher, I was already putting some programs and things in place that impacted the school as a whole. For example, I was parent involvement coordinator at my school site, and I got a $500 stipend. It wasn't much at all, but you know what? I was able to bring in parent volunteers as a teacher, as an educator. So I was able to put that on my resume. Then I started to do volunteer stuff, leadership things that were volunteer. For example, we created a committee because we wanted to see our school-wide grading practices, and I spearheaded that. So if you think that's a concern in your school, you can create your own committee, and you could say you're the head of the committee. Just make sure you're speaking with your site admin and getting something like that going that you can add on your resume. I started a tutoring. I used to call them cram sessions. So at the end of each semester, we did this school-wide math department thing where we had after-school teachers stay, and we would target final exam questions, teach our kids, and I kept track of data. Another big thing, data. And I noticed that when we started it to when we ended, we had about 20% of our students pass. So I looked at the failure rates before, I looked at the failure rates after, and I said, look, we had 20% increase in rates. And again, I did that as a teacher. I did not get paid for that. That was just something that I did to help the school, to help the students. And of course, it was something I can add to my resume. All right, so again, if you want to get my resume, if you want to get my letter of introduction in a Word format, I'd be happy to share them with you. Take them, tweak them, make them your own, see the kinds of things I did to get myself callbacks for interviews. All you have to do is put a comment that you want it, and then I'll reply back to you. Please also subscribe to this YouTube channel because I give a lot of information on how you could be more organized, more productive, well managed with time, great planning skills. We can all use that, right? No matter what profession we're in, even in our personal lives. So please subscribe, and you can even hit the notification bell so you could be notified when videos come out, which usually happens twice a week. Okay, that's all I have for this video, and I will catch you in the next one.